Thanks, Christy. We're fortunate to have you as our MC, and I'm even more fortunate to have you as my deputy. Secretary General Santi Bun Prakap, Thailand Office of Natural Resources and Environmental Policy and Planning. Mr. Alfred Nakasuma, Director of USAID Regional Environment Office for Asia. Mr. Hans Gutman, CEO of the Mekong River Commission. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As the Chief of Party of the USAID Mekong Adaptation and Resilience to Climate Change Project, let me also extend a warm welcome to you all. It's good to again see those of you who attended our midterm study workshop in Hanoi last November, and to have many new participants here to learn about our work and provide us with feedback in order that we can conclude an important study on climate change. We've convened this workshop over the next 2 days to talk about the future of the lower Mekong Basin. Specifically, what science tells us about shifts in regional climate and how experts see these shifts impacting natural systems, commercial and subsistence crops, livestock, and fisheries in the region. Importantly, we also want to discuss how the study can be used to inform ground-level action. The structure of the workshop over the next 2 days will follow the approach of the Mekong Arc itself, as we start off with a focus on science today, seeking your input into our research results, and move to action tomorrow by exploring different organizations' experiences in applying climate change research into decision-making. Mekong Arc's geographic focus is the lower Mekong River Basin. The Mekong River connects 60 million people in Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, and provides critically important services to the 75% of the population who are farmers and fishers. The lower Mekong is, however, amongst the most vulnerable regions in the world to the impacts of climate change. USAID designed the Mekong Arc project with the understanding that rural communities in the basin are at the front lines of dealing with the impacts of climate change. The overarching goal of the Mekong Arc project is therefore to support the rural people of the lower Mekong to increase their ability to adapt to the impacts of climate change. So while we'll hear a lot about the science today, I want you to keep in mind that this ultimately will be about the people. Individually and collectively, the lower Mekong nations are taking steps to address the future needs of the most vulnerable of their people in the face of climate change. This is in fact demonstrated by the wide range of expertise represented at this workshop by government participants from the 4 lower Mekong countries. Generating sound scientific analysis to inform decision-making in support of vulnerable rural people is a key objective of the Mekong Arc. The project's first contribution to this effort comes through the sharing of the draft results from the Innovative Climate Change Impact and Adaptation Study of the Lower Mekong Basin. The study commenced a year ago with a team of more than 20 national and international experts, led by Dr. Jeremy Carew-Reed of the International Center for Environmental Management. The group downscaled global climate models for the Mekong and then analyzed how alterations in temperature and rainfall would affect land suitability and species productivity for a range of livelihood sectors. You'll hear a great deal about this from Jeremy and the team over the next 2 days, so I do not want to go into too much detail now, but I do want to touch on some key points about the study. This regional study differs from many climate assessments conducted to date, which are primarily about detailing climate projections and trends. While forecasts of more days at higher temperatures, wetter wet seasons, drier dry seasons, and greater frequency of extreme weather events provides a jumping off point for adaptation programming, Additional analysis is necessary to assist the farmer, the fisherman, or the government planner in making decisions to prepare for climate threats and opportunities now and in the future. This is where the Mekong Arc study is unique. As you see here, we're looking at a slide of the climate zones of Lower Mekong. And the study will assess how shifts in temperature and precipitation will affect the current makeup of these climate zones. This is done through some static modeling. But in addition, the study offers dynamic expert analysis on the impacts this will have basin-wide. As Alfred had mentioned, key commercial and staple crops of the region, including rice, maize, rubber, cassava, soya, and coffee, have been analyzed, as well as fisheries, livestock, non-timber forest products, and protected areas. A key output of the study is the analysis of how shifts in climate will affect comfort zones, where species and natural systems survive and thrive. A simplified way of understanding the comfort zone is to think about the conditions under which crops live today, for example, and then asking how productive would they be in a future where we see days above 40 degrees Celsius become more frequent, storms more intense, waterlogging of crops more prevalent, and so on. By understanding comfort zones for key crops, aquatic and livestock species, and natural systems, decision makers can begin developing adaptation strategies that factor changes in productivity and viability of these livelihood sectors, both positive and negative, over the long term. This can help them better understand and prioritize options for the future. This workshop takes place at a transition period for the Mekong Arc project. In the coming months, we move into the field to work in some of the 9 provinces identified by the study as hotspots. Hotspots are based on projections of significant climate shifts, or where such shifts could substantially impact community livelihood needs. Field teams will undertake adaptation initiatives with 5 to 6 communities for a period of approximately 2.5 years in these focal provinces. Through these initiatives, a climate lens, linking findings from the study with local knowledge, will add an additional layer of information into customary planning processes. Communities will better understand and prioritize climate risks and take actions to build or strengthen their resilience. They will also monitor how changes in climate are impacting their livelihoods and continually recalibrate adaptive responses based on experiences gained and new information generated. Such an approach will be critical in developing community adaptive capacity over the long term, as it allows for incorporation of climate information and community ground truthing into decision making on a regular basis. As you can see from this slide, we refer to this as the Act, Learn, Act Again approach to building community adaptation capabilities. Mekong Arc will review results generated by our community adaptation initiatives and determine those determined to be successful will be promoted for replication throughout the Mekong region via regional partners, such as the ADB and the MRC. This is one reason why I'm very pleased that Hans Gutman, CEO of the Mekong River Commission, is here today to provide the workshop's keynote speech. The MRC is a key regional actor that promotes and coordinates sustainable management and development of water and related resources for the riparian countries of the Mekong. Over the past year, Mekong Arc has coordinated closely and shared baseline results from the study with the MRC's Climate Change Adaptation Initiative. And we look forward to further coordination and collaboration in the future. Policymakers and community leaders often face difficult choices around the use of natural resources in sustaining growth and building or maintaining healthy communities. The inputs for such decision on how to optimize land, water, and natural resource use in the face of climate change are complicated and sometimes contain conflicting information. However, each climate change study produced pushes the frontier of this understanding. And it's my hope that the Mekong Arc assessment of clearly articulated climate, agriculture, fisheries, livestock, and natural systems vulnerabilities serves to inform government and community leaders' decision-making, and that decisions informed by science strengthen the resilience to climate change of the region's most vulnerable people. Before ending, I do want to draw your attention to a few activities and milestones important to the Mekong Arc project upcoming. So we're here today to provide final inputs on the Mekong Arc climate study. We expect that this study will be finalized hopefully by May. We're also intending very shortly to release a call for proposals for the Community Adaptations Initiative. And these will draw directly from the science generated through the study. After that, we certainly hope that we will award subcontracts in June, kick off field activities in July. And I do want to mention, we have a colleague here today, John Talbot from WRI, who's looking at the economic impacts of climate change. So while today we focus on the science, in the future John will look at how climate change will impact the values of risk, impact values of various commodities. So we do hope to produce that. And finally, he'll also help us with the ecosystem valuation guidelines. So I look forward to a fruitful discussion over the next 2 days. Your input at this point in the project will be important to its success. I wish you all a good workshop, and again,